In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victorious. So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on, bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am one of your hosts, Sean Donnelly. I am joined by my co-host, Andy Fiore, everybody.
Hey.
How are you, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to have you. This is, I think, the fourth episode you've done for the show. People used to be, right? Fourth? Or
I
fifth?
feel like it's more than that.
Is it more than that? Maybe?
Yeah.
And, if you don't know, there's two things that have changed about the show. Farrah isn't the co-host anymore, but there's no hard feelings. Farrah had just had a scheduling conflict, and she's not able to come tape anymore. But she will be back on the show, so if you love Farrah, don't worry. But we have Andrew here, who is fucking amazing. And on top of that, also, we've changed the format of the show. We're doing a different type of ep today, but the format usually of the show going forward will be versus. So it'll be two movies against each other. We've done a bunch already, and it's worked out pretty well. And then also we'll have these themed eps. And today's theme ep, like we did one already, it was Defend Your Decade. Today we did the 70s. Today we're doing Defend Your 80s.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun with the last one, so we figured we'd do Defend Your 80s.
Absolutely.
But how is everything going with you, Andy?
Good, man. Things are good. I'm excited for this one because the 80s, to me, is a little bit of an underrated decade.
Oh, you think so?
I do, but
Well, we were talking up on the 70s episode. If you listen, we were really like, I was like, every nominee is like a classic fucking movie.
Every nominee. Well, yeah, if you're defending your decade, I'll take 70s over 80s.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Day.
I don't even know. You have the list. I
Yes.
don't. I'm going to say, before we get into it, I'm going to say that there's way more forgettables on the 80s than the 70s list.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I figured. Yeah, because when we talked about it last time, too, we'll remind everybody, when it started to get into the way that Hollywood is now, like in the 80s, like you had a difference between the auteurs and the filmmaking and like almost like film snob type films,
Right.
and zany blockbusters or action blockbusters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is when it started.
Well, this is a good way because that leads me into my point is that what we did for the 70s is we just kind of went through the best pictures and the best picture nominees.
Yeah.
Which are largely the bulk of what you remember from the 70s. The 80s, you're going to look, what we're going to do, we'll do the same thing. We'll go through the best pictures and the best picture nominees. But those, you're right, aren't necessarily the ones you remember the most from the 80s. Because the 80s, you go, oh, yeah, I mean, we're the same age, so that was like, that was the bulk of my childhood. That was great, that was great, that was great. But they're not best picture.
They're not best picture.
Nominated worthy. But it's still a great decade for movies.
Yeah, it's a great, amazing decade for movies, but there's ones that didn't get on that should have. Like, the Academy makes a lot of mistakes sometimes, and people argue it as time goes on.
Right.
And it's actually interesting to see 30 years later, or 40 years later, when you see, like, oh, which ones are talked about more, or which ones pop up in the public eye more now, and there's a lot of winners that get forgotten about.
And I'm almost willing to bet almost all of our favorite movies from the 80s are not even going to be in this.
No, it'll start to be like, we'll go into it in a second, but you had an idea. What movies did you watch this week? 'Cause
I thought it'd be fun to just kind of, I'm a schlub and I sit around and I basically just turn on movies
Yeah, I'm the same way, yeah.
And it's either something I've either seen a million times or this week, for example, I just caught the Running Man 10 minutes in.
Okay, perfect.
And I hadn't seen it all the way through. So I actually just sat there and watched the whole, it was like 2 a.m, and I just watched the whole thing through.
And what'd you think?
It's
dated.
It's definitely dated.
It's a cool idea, though.
And
it's based on Omega Man, right? It's based on the Omega Man,
I think so.
Which is a novel, or there is a movie called The Omega Man with Charlton Heston. It's based on that. There's something that Running Man's based on that really had nothing to do with it. Like, it's like, I forget what, it's like some novel, some famous
Taming of
novel.
the Shrew.
Yeah, Taming of the Shrew, right, exactly. But some novel where it's like, if you look at I Am Legend is also based on Omega Man, I think.
Right.
But like,
It's like
the last man on Earth, basically standing. But Omega Man is, Running Man is like this futuristic
game show competition, but deadly, fatalistic. And it's, Charles Dawson is the host we know from Family Feud.
And there's a quote. Charles Dawson has it when he comes out with the crowd, and he says, "Who loves you, and who do you love?"
Right.
And I remember when I was younger, before I watched Running Man, that was in like a techno song from back in the day. Who loves you, and who do you love? And it's like this, and it's so Charles, he had such a weird. Richard Dawson had such a weird career because he was like, I think, a stage actor, and then he did a bunch of movies and TV, and then he just became
totally famous from Family Feud.
Family Feud, right? And the Match Game. Me and my roommate will watch the Match Game 75, and it's so funny because if you watch old episodes of the Match Game, and you're like, all these people are dead. Everybody's dead.
I know.
And it's so morbid, but you're like, it's so.
I think about that all the time when I watch movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, when there's if it's an old one, or if it's like a movie where the main person's dead, and you're like, oh, that's sad.
Especially high school movies. Like I was watching last night, the original Carrie was on, and I just flipped over to see where they were at in the movie, and that I believe was 77, and they're seniors in high school. I go, shit, if they were seniors in high school, they're in their 60s now. It just weirds me out.
It's crazy. It's so weird. Well, I'm 40, so that's they have to be like.
I mean, I'm 20 years removed from literally 98 was when I graduated.
Right.
So it was like
exactly. I'll tell you this much. I just thought of this, and I don't think they did this. They didn't remake Running Man, did they?
I don't know.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, Jim Cotto, who's great. He's Mosley in Midnight Run.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown
in it.
Yeah.
I'm
this would be
forgetting his name, but the other what's his name? He was the governor, and he was also in Predator with Schwarzenegger. What's his Jesse the Body Ventura?
Oh yeah, that's right. He's in it, right?
He plays Captain Freedom, but he was retired.
Right, and then he comes out of retirement
back as the final because Schwarzenegger and they were beating everybody.
They got too far.
Yeah.
And then he comes out to shut him down.
Right.
I'll tell you, this should be remade with the popularity of Hunger Games.
Absolutely,
they should make
it's the same.
You can
basic
have
concept.
but you can have it with Ryan Seacrest as the Richard Dawson.
Yeah, totally.
I would say Schwarzenegger role, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum would be good.
Channing Tatum or Statham. You can go one of two ways. You can make it like Blade Runner 4045, whatever it's called,
right.
where it's heavy and dark, and you have somebody do it that's that makes it's more brooding.
Yeah.
Or you have it where it's fun, like Hunger Games or something, and you just have wackiest people be casted.
Yeah.
But it should be remade, especially with now, everybody thinks the world's ending anyway. So
it has that totally Orwellian Big Brother police state feel to it,
right? Exactly. But it is a really good movie.
Yeah, it was good.
My movie I watched was I was saying thing. I flipped through the channels, and it is funny. I can't. I wanted to ask you this. I can't think of it now. I feel like I have a couple of different movies that I never saw in the theaters, and I always catch 15 minutes in, right. And I've never seen the whole thing. You know what I mean? There's always that movie where you see the same part over, and then it's it's almost like just weirdly Sixth Sense. I know this is on. I know it's 15 minutes in, and I'm going to watch it. But one of the things I caught in the middle was Forrest Gump. I watched Forrest Gump.
Yep.
And it's a really good movie. I think I like Forrest Gump a lot because Robert Zemeckis directed it, and I'm a diehard Back to the Future person. I love it. That's my if I want to be reminded of being a kid, I watch Back to the Future.
Totally.
But Forrest Gump, one of the things I was just thinking really quick, and it's kind of funny when it happens. There's a great scene where I love scenes of if guys are treating the girl shitty and then the hero of the movie steps in and saves the day. And there's a part where Jenny, it's actually a really sweet part where he's giving the speech at the mall in DC, Forrest Gump, and the guy pulls the cords out so you never actually hear what he says.
Right.
And they go, and then they get the cords back in. They go, what's your name? He goes, Forrest Gump. And then she's in the crowd.
Yeah, it's a very sweet moment.
And she comes across the wall, the water.
You said it all, man.
It's really nice. Yeah, you said it all, man. That's supposed to be Gabby Hoffman, I think. Yeah. So anyway, so she comes through, and then they walk around, and then he goes to the Black Panther meeting, and then but the thing they never got is they kicked him out for punching the guy who hit the woman.
I know.
And then on the way out, he's like, I'm sorry I ruined your Black Panther party,
Right.
which is really funny.
Yeah.
But if in reality, wouldn't everybody be like, no, don't worry about it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody says anything. Like, nobody's like, oh, you just can't hang out anymore. But don't, like, they're not nice to him at all.
I think that might have just been a
choice for the movie.
A snapshot of the 60s where hitting a woman probably wasn't that big a deal yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Where it's like that guy is more important to like our cause than him decking a woman. Like, we'd rather have them leave and we need you. I don't know. You know?
I think you're right.
Because I think up until probably
5 years ago.
decently recent, like, you know, that was almost, it would be, because I think it would be like, that, you know, leave them alone. That's their business. You know, like,
right.
If he hits her, that's not, you stay out of it.
No, it's been like, I think it's been since our lifetime, I would say, right? Like, if you.
Yeah, but.
When we were kids, if a woman was being hit in public, I think somebody would step.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Would anybody step in? People would step in.
Yeah, my father would absolutely murder a stranger for hitting a woman. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think there was that mentality where it's like, don't get involved. That's, you know.
Oh, they had that, you know. It's so funny. Speaking of Match Game, Joey Bishop, who's part of the Rat Pack, and he was like, 60 something when this Match Game episode was happening. He goes, one of the jokes he made, because Brett Summers, who's another Match Game regular, and you guys aren't going to know who these people are.
You know why I know Brett Summers?
I barely know why.
Because
I know why. Because,
Robin?
What?
Oh, what were you going to say?
No, what were you going to say?
Robin does Brett Summers in the Howard Stern
Oh, that's right. She does. Gene. I never got that one because I would listen to her back then. But somebody else does it too, where like they would make. I think The Simpsons did it, or like Family Guy or something, where it was like animated Match Game, and Brett Summers. It was always something about her having like a really dirty vagina or something crazy, where like she's just so rough and tumble. They just make fun of her fucking a lot, and like it was like really weird. And then you're like, oh, it's just this older lady. Like this is very like she's like kind of like raspy voiced old lady. Anyway, so Joey Bishop is sitting next to her, and she keeps making fun of Joey Bishop and her, and he goes. Like the joke he had, because she kept bugging him out of nowhere. Joey Bishop on this show, like 1975, he goes, "I haven't hit a woman in at least a year," and like everybody laughs, and I'm like, I know he's kidding, but that's weird. Like you couldn't even get away with that. Like you couldn't get away with that now. I mean, like it sounded strange for somebody to say that on television. Everybody was like, "Ah!" Everybody was laughing. The women, everybody was laughing. I was like, no, it's. Even I came up in a time where I was like, no, that's not ever funny. Like, what are you talking about? You know? But it was pretty funny. But I always wondered that about about Forrest Gump. I always wondered, that part. Why do they get kicked out? Like, because they made a disturbance at the meeting, the Black Panther meeting, but I'm like, it just seemed very
also
strange.
White people. I don't know if that was
no, because there's white people left. There's like,
and he's a veteran.
Not to play stereotypes, but when they're leaving and they look back, there's the Black Panthers, and next to them is like a heavy-set white. Really not breaking down the stereotype that black guys like heavy-set white women.
Had to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's where it was. Forrest Gump started the whole process.
That was just a propaganda of the Black Panther star. They're like, we're all going to get together. We're just going to set the stereotype that black guys like heavy-set white women.
That's where it started. That's the real purpose of the Black Panthers. And then some guy like showed up with a gun. He's like, "Hey, you guys want to fight? You want to fight racism and like oppression and stuff?" And they're like, "Yeah, I guess." Or we could just
fine.
Or we just start sleeping with fat white women if you want. I don't know. What do you want to do? It's like a toss-up. Either we try to like.
Can we do both?
Can we do equality, or we have sex with these women? All right, let's do the decades. And this was really fun last time we did it. Do you want to do it in a certain way, the way you wanted to last time, where you give me the nominees and then the winner, and then we'll be, we'll talk as we go, or what do you want to do?
I'll give you I can give you the 5 movies. I don't know how many you know. One. And if you want to,
I'll tell you if I know it.
At guessing.
You want to? Which one? One? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I might know a couple that won, but yeah. Well, let's do it that way.
All right, cool. Well, then I'm just going to say 1980. We'll start with the verdict. We kind of touched on it last week because
we wanted to talk about Raging Bull. Right?
Raging Bull is nominated, and we already know it doesn't win, but it's also nominated along with Tess, The Elephant Man, Ordinary People, and Coal Miner's Daughter.
I'll be full disclosure. This one I know.
Yeah, me too.
It's Ordinary People that won.
It's Ordinary People.
I think this is a perfect example because nobody talks about Ordinary People. Like, it's
No
a
one.
classic, but it's not like it's like played on cable a bunch of times.
No.
And I guess Raging Bull isn't either. Maybe there's a time frame of movies that like.
But Raging Bull, you will catch on like an AMC or something like
it's
that
true, yeah.
every now and then.
Like for a marathon or something.
Totally.
Like Scorsese or our guy's
Yeah.
hard guy movie.
Yeah.
But that it goes beyond that. Ordinary People was like a really popular drama for that time. And it made sense that it won back then, but now Raging Bull would have won. If it was
come on.
now,
Yeah,
if you picked
yeah.
it now as Raging Bull. Also, Coal Miner's Daughter also was more famous. Like Coal Miner's Daughter, there was a song that came out because of it, and it's Sissy Spacek, who's
yeah.
like now more legendary than
right. Well, she was. Yeah, I mean, between that and then Carrie was only a few years earlier.
Right. So I just feel like those are way more like. I know those more than I know Ordinary People. I have no interest.
Absolutely.
I have no interest in watching Ordinary. I've never seen it. I have no interest in watching it.
Back when Netflix used to actually send the movies out, I went through a whole thing where I would be like, all right, what best pictures haven't I seen?
Yeah.
And that was when I
And then
first got
check it
acquainted
out.
with it.
Yeah.
And
Ordinary People, if I'm right, like, it probably gets very dated very quick. Right? Like, if I watched it now, not seeing it.
yeah, maybe. I stylistically maybe, but I do think it is a great portrait of that type of family. I know that family where like the mother, the tragedy happens, the mother just then ignores, all her feelings and emotions, and the father kind of wants to do something, but he's can't really, and then the son, seeks out therapy and
I think if you come from a dysfunctional family and you watch it, you're like, yeah, that's like,
perfect. Right.
Ordinary People. Yeah, you're right.
No, it is.
They're
I know.
ordinary.
I think Mary Tyler Moore did not. I don't know if she won. She might have won, but she was nominated, at least for Best Actress.
Yeah,
and that's you kind of forget about Mary Tyler Moore after that too.
Absolutely,
because she kind of doesn't really do movies. And
no, she and then her show was already done by then. I think,
yeah.
Right? But I think if that list came out now, I think the way the Academy is now, I think Raging Bull would have won that year. I really do. Because Raging Bull is quickly becoming my favorite Scorsese movie. Like Goodfellas, I was talking about this once. I think we had an episode about Goodfellas, and I said it's so in my brain, and it's so hardwired into my brain. I've seen it so many times. That's why now I'd be like Raging Bull, just because it's different. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And also, when you start showing Goodfellas on like Lifetime, and like they're showing,
it gets watered
it's
down.
almost like 10 weeks from being on like a Comedy Central. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's like it's been on it's been syndicated. It's almost like a show has been syndicated out the ass, where it's like it's been on every channel, every time, it's like that, but for a movie. It's
Raging Bull 2 is the first personally Scorsese film where I started noticing distinct Scorsese techniques.
Style, the freeze
style,
frame, the close up,
the fast close up shot in.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
what
mean
that's
like
called.
the gun one? You mean
where just like it's a quick, what do you call it? I don't know, for lack of a better term. It's just like he zooms in. It's just a quick zoom in, and I love that. And it's very distinctly Scorsese.
And then
of course the music and the slow mo scene and the blood. It's just great.
It's great. And then he did it in Raging Bull, but I don't know if he does this as much in Raging Bull and Goodfellas. He has the great when she's over him in the bed with the gun.
Oh yeah,
they got. And also, you think about it now, they do it like they probably just zoom in on the gun and they get as close as they want. He had to get right up on it and get focused on literally the grooves in the gun, like the serial number, the grooves. Like it looks like you can see the metal. Like that's how close you are to the gun. That's another thing of his. It's funny because you don't realize it because there's dialogue over it. It's dialogue over just shot after shot of the gun. But it's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize you're registering what's going on because you hear her talking to him and you know what you see an establishing shot of her over him, and then it goes to close up, and then then POV, like back and forth.
Yep.
Like I don't think you see a two shot until after he slaps her. And then he slaps her and knocks her on the ground. So you're like, oh my God, I went the whole scene. That adds, I think the whole point of that, I went to film school for like a year. And I think the whole point of that is, if you just would have had a one shot and a two shot, one shot and a two shot, if you didn't have those zoomed in super close ups, it adds to the drama of the scene. It adds to the suspense of the is she or isn't she going to do it.
Yeah.
If you just showed her with the gun and you showed the gun from far away the entire time, that's why that guy's so amazing, because it's like, oh no, by showing you the little pieces of the gun, it almost is like this weird guttural thing that happens to you, like this weird thing inside of you that's like, oh my god, she's gonna do it. Like it makes it more real for you or something
Yeah.
like that. That's why it's such a great scene. It's such a
Totally.
fucking great scene. But Raging Bull has that as well. They have things in Raging Bull like. He has the Jesus complex when he's on the ring, and
Yep.
and he also has. There's a bunch of close-ups in Raging Bull. I think they do a bunch of, but it's more of people, I think, than it is like that gun one is like one of the most famous ones.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's 1980. I think I would have, if I had to guess, Raging Bull. If I didn't know the answer, Raging Bull would have been my first guess. Coal Miner's Daughter would have been my second,
Interesting.
and then Ordinary People.
Moving on to 1981, I'll just give you the five. The five Best Picture nominees are Raiders of the Lost Ark, Reds, Chariots of Fire, Atlantic City, and On Golden Pond.
All right, I don't know this one, right? Oh no, you. Oh, wait. Raiders-
It's gonna get murky here for a little while because I didn't know. This
I know which
either.
one won. I think, but not because you told me. I just think I remember.
Go for it.
And this is one of those movies. Is it On Golden Pond?
It's Chariots of Fire.
Oh, it is Chariots of Fire.
Yeah.
That's the racing
ding,
one,
ding,
right?
Ding, ding.
That's another. Yeah. That's another movie that I have no interest in watching. I think I saw it when I was a kid.
This is a year besides Raiders. I really don't know, but I probably would have guessed On Golden Pond too because I think that might be the most famous out of the. Well, Chariots of Fire. The song and the slow mo is pretty famous.
Yes.
But
And Chariots of Fire. There you go. On Golden Pond, they don't play that much either. But On Golden Pond, I think was Henry Fonda's last movie too. I'm pretty sure On Golden Pond. I think he died. Right
you are
after.
correct.
It was
It's
made.
his final act.
Yeah. So, and I remember watching it, and I remember it making me uncomfortable on Golden Pond because there's a scene where he gets like, senile. So he starts yelling at them. I remember this thing about him like yelling at them, like he can't like. He's like shaking.
Yeah,
and he's getting like Alzheimer's or something in the movie. It's really, really sad. But I would have guessed On Golden Pond. Chariots of Fire, yeah, that was huge back then. But who's watching Chariots of Fire now? That's what I mean. Like,
exactly.
it was like a different time. Like the things that people got
the
into.
The song I think is more famous than the movie.
Absolutely. You think of what's the other one? Chariots of Fire, not Chariots of Fire.
Brian's song?
No, the one with all the Rat Pack, not the Brat Pack in it, and it was
St. Elmo's Fire.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I think of Chariots of Fire. But Raiders of the Lost Ark, I wouldn't have guessed that would have won just because it was like Spielberg. Right. Like it was more fun. It wasn't a Jaws. It wasn't a groundbreaking. It's
not even my favorite Indiana.
No. What's your favorite Indiana?
Last Crusade.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
We're in the minority on that one.
I know. Most people are Raiders.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I have gotten to battles with this people over this.
Come on,
I like Raiders.
The Hitler scene in Last Crusade.
Dude,
come on, it's great.
Everything about she's a Nazi. I can say that. She talks in her sleep.
She's talking in her sleep.
She's a Nazi.
Yeah, so I think. What do you think about that lineup? What would you have guessed?
I would have gone with On Golden Pond.
Yeah,
I think I did know that one because I looked at the list before the show. But
yeah.
This is 82 is a tough year too because, well, maybe it's not so obvious, but E.T., Missing, Tootsie, The Verdict, and Gandhi are the nominees.
This is the only other one that I know because we talked about it for 5 minutes. It's Tootsie won.
Gandhi won.
Oh, Gandhi won.
Yeah,
right.
Gandhi won.
Sorry. All right. Yeah, Gandhi won. But Tootsie was like one of the Tootsie's on. I think the
Tootsie's on a lot.
AFI's 50
Yeah,
list,
yeah.
and I think it is one of those movies that people don't understand why.
Yeah, I think people just assume it's like more of a slapstick.
Yeah,
guy dressed up
I've
like a
seen
girl.
it. Like it's one of those movies that you like. I saw when I was younger. You don't get unless you're an adult. It's very 80s. Tootsie.
Yeah,
like
taxi.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like they don't. Tootsie, they don't play that either. Like when do they play Tootsie on
Yeah, you're right.
It's almost like a whole. Man, they just stopped playing older movies on. I guess they got like. Are they only playing like the 90s and stuff and forward? Like,
Yeah, you kind of have to go to TMC.
Yeah.
Which is scary to me because I'm like, I don't remember these being those. I remember those movies that they're showing being the movies that would normally be on TV when I was growing up, like on Channel 11, WPIX.
Right.
And that's where I saw a ton of those movies.
Right, exactly.
Now, if we want to say...
now, with this one, I'm shocked it wasn't. E.T. was like a phenomenon.
Yeah, exactly.
How it didn't win. And also was like... technical wise, the graphics, but I think special effects makeup, animatronics, whatever. It wasn't like totally groundbreaking that way.
Yeah.
So, and also it's Spielberg, and that was like I remember going to see it when I was like, when we coming to 80, it was 82.
Yeah.
I think I must have saw it like when I remember we went to the theater. It might have been one of my first memories. 'Cause I was only 4, but I mean like, or I don't think I saw it on tape. I think I saw it in the theaters the first time.
Yeah.
So I like vaguely remember being there. And I was 4, but I didn't think I knew anything from when I was 4. I feel like,
right.
I don't know what my earliest memory is, but it was such a big, that's what I mean. Like, and the one that won is Gandhi. So you're already starting with like, Gandhi is not a better movie than
no,
I've seen Gandhi.
I'm pretty
Gandhi's
sure
not a better movie
I turned
than
Gandhi off.
Right. Gandhi's not a better movie than E.T. It's really not.
Yeah.
Like, everything about E.T. is good. The script is good. Everything's good. And it's also like dealing with a topic that you didn't have any other movie like it back then.
Yeah.
Close Encounters was actually, I think Close Encounters was the next year, right? 83?
No, I think Close Encounters
was 70, late 70s?
I think it was earlier.
It was earlier.
Yeah.
Right. So that's an alien movie, but this was like an alien, like personal alien movie.
Yeah.
That's great.
One note, The Verdict, because I love Paul Newman, is actually, there's a scene filmed right across the street in 7B.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
It was like his go-to bar.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not a bad movie. It's a pretty good movie, The Verdict.
From where we tape in the East Village, right near a bar called 7B.
Yeah.
And the two names of the bar that I've always known over the years were Horseshoe Bar or 7B's.
Yeah. It's Vazak's, actually.
Vazak's, but yeah, right, exactly. And then there's now they never had a sign on the bar since I've known it. Now there's a sign outside the bar. And it said 7B's, it said Vazak's, and it says Horseshoe Bar.
Yeah.
The 3 names on the sign. What about 83?
83 is, you probably know this one, but this is a good year. The Big Chill, The Dresser, The Right Stuff, Terms of Endearment, and Tender Mercies.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I know it won. Only because from growing up. The Big Chill one, right?
No.
Oh, shit. Wait, hold on.
Think of the other one you probably...
The Right Stuff.
No.
Oh.
Wow, Terms of Endearment.
Oh, Terms of Endearment.
Yeah.
That was like super popular. That's Nicholson and in the car and everything, right? And he's in Terms of Endearment.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges.
And Shirley MacLaine and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Deborah Winger.
Yeah, there you go. Once again, it's like these dramas that are just like these heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
It's not like this is the first time this has been done. It's like,
I don't know.
It's almost like a pattern with these things. Ordinary people, Terms of Endearment, they just want like super sad shit to happen with these like really big actors, you know? And
I mean, The Big Chill. It's all
The Big Chill,
tackles,
yeah.
You know,
they talk about how Kevin Costner's in it in The Big Chill.
Yeah.
He's the dead body.
Oh wow!
I think it's Kevin Costner.
Right.
He plays the friend that died. I guess there was other, but you never see his face.
It's funny because The Big Chill then goes on to be like panned by like future generations.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Right. The Big Show becomes like a joke. Right?
Yeah.
I think it became a trope. It became like hey, we're getting together after 20 years, and
right.
all this stuff happens at a weekend house. Like, or well, like there's other things, movies that are like that are like, hey, a bunch of people meeting up for the first time in a while. I guess Terms of Endearment makes sense. I think Nicholson, you have it for that. And
James L. Brooks was behind it. It's
Oh yeah.
The Right Stuff is a nice story. It's the astronauts and
Right Stuff
had that famous
was
scene.
really popular. Also, Right Stuff. That's funny because I thought it came out before that. I thought that might have been like early 80s.
You know what? I always, when someone was just in my head, sometimes I would always get All the Right Moves and The Right Stuff confused. Where somebody was like, "Yeah, The Right Stuff is great." I'm like, the football movie from like Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's funny.
84 is a good year. I didn't realize how. I'll say it later. But the nominees are Amadeus, The Killing Fields.
Oh, I know what one.
Passenger to India, Places in the Heart, and A Soldier's Story. I'm not familiar with a lot of these movies, but I do know the winner because I know this movie well.
Amadeus.
Yes.
And that's what should have won. I think
I don't
the one
even
that
really
was probably
know the
close
other
with it was The Killing Fields, I think.
Yeah, which
The Killing Fields was super. And also another one, Amadeus. Even Amadeus, they don't show as much. We're finding that out. These are becoming Turner Classic movies that I remember watching as kids.
I remember watching this with my parents because like they love classical music and stuff like that, and I just remember being like, this is so long and boring. But then, like, watching it as an adult, you're like, that's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
The whole, like, Salieri, whole.
He's great in it.
Yeah, totally.
F. Murray Abraham.
F. Murray Abraham.
And then Tom Hulce. It's also like it's funny because Tom Hulce is awesome in it.
Yeah, and all you can think is Animal House.
You think Animal House? And then I end up thinking of He's in Parenthood as, like, the deadbeat son.
Right.
And he just, like, it's weird because that was a pretty heavy movie, and it made sense for Tom Hulce to be in it. But he's a good actor, Tom Hulce.
Yeah.
But he kind of went
That whole cast went on to do pretty much.
He went light and fluffy after that. You're right. F. Murray Abraham was always in good stuff. Tom Hulce. Who else is in it?
I was talking about Animal House.
Animal House. Yeah. Well, you know who's great in that is not Peter. What's his name? Not Peter Riegert. Is that his name? Peter Riegert?
Yeah, Peter Riegert.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
He was in Sopranos as the councilman.
Totally.
And he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
Absolutely.
Well, you know who's great? You know, it's funny. That's another thing we should talk about. And this we'll go over on a little tangent here, but these guys, people, because it's funny. I think that's what happens if you're not supposed to. Sometimes these guys don't go the way they probably should go. Like, you know, Peter Riegert was in a bunch of. He played the cop in Mask. You know, like I think these guys just try to work.
Right.
But you know who was great, and also if you see, we should do a whole episode on Diner. Diner's an unbelievable movie. It's such a. You watch Diner?
Oh yeah,
it's so great. Steve Guttenberg's fantastic. Steve Guttenberg's a good actor in Diner.
I don't know.
And then Police Academy just destroyed the guy.
Right,
Hold on, Alex
right.
wants to say something.
I saw Steve Guttenberg naked in his steam room once. Oh my god, that guy's packing.
Is he packing?
Big time.
Really?
Gutenberg.
Thanks. That's the penis corner with Alex Brazel. Everybody.
That's what you had to play.
I think he lives in Long Island. He's from Long Island. He's from Massapequa, I think. But he's a good actor. But when you went to Police Academy, even Police Academy, the first one, is like he's funny. It's actually funny.
Yeah.
I remember watching it as a kid and thinking
Steve Sweeney's
funny.
in it.
That's right.
The
he
car,
is.
butt breath.
But I'm just saying, like sometimes these guys' careers, you don't always go to like these heavy acting things. A lot of these guys they do stuff because it's work, you know.
Yeah.
Or what's the next one? Because
we'll kind of go through these.
Okay,
85 is a weird year too because I don't know a lot of these.
That's Back to the Future. I wish that was nominated.
The Color Purple, Out of Africa, Kiss of the Spider Woman, Preetzi's Honor, and Witness.
Oh shoot! I know it's between. I think it's Out of Africa.
You are correct.
Hey, I got that right.
So Sidney Pollack was behind a lot of movies in the 80s.
Yeah,
he was at Tootsie.
Great director and great actor.
Yeah, great actor. I love him in Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, he's great in
and
Eyes Wide
I
Shut.
love him in Michael Clayton.
He's
which I love. Is a great movie.
Oh, Michael Clayton. There's nothing about. I'd probably defend Michael Clayton against.
Yeah, it's one in my top 10. I think.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
It's such a great movie, and it's under. You know why? Also, I think, and it's almost like being a movie hipster.
Yeah,
it's underrated. Underrated, and it did it win that? Got nominated that year.
I don't think it won.
It didn't win.
I don't think it won.
I think Out of Africa, nobody cares about anymore.
Yeah, The Color Purple is
Purple. Nobody watches. That's Whoopi Goldberg. Nobody watches it.
Witness is the one I know the best.
Witness
Kiss of
is
the Spider Woman.
That's the one they play on TV the most now.
Yeah.
Witness is the Harrison Ford, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's the most famous
Amish.
one now, the Amish one. It's Kingpin mixed with Witness. It should be a mashup. Randy Quaid's Amish guy goes to Witness. He's the It's not the kid. It's Randy Quaid from Kingpin. 86.
1986. A Room with a View. The Mission. Platoon. Children of a Lesser God, and Hannah and Her Sisters.
I think I know what. Oh, it's between one or two. I might be wrong, but Platoon.
You're right.
Okay. Hannah and Her Sisters was a big contender.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? The Mission wasn't one of my dad's favorite movies.
Really?
De Niro's in it. And it's supposed to be fantastic.
I don't know The Mission. I think we talked about this.
Yeah. I think we did.
I know Platoon well, and I know Hannah and Her Sisters very well. Hannah and Her Sisters, for some reason, is one of the Woody Allen movies I've seen a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch.
I've only seen clips of it.
It's got a very good ensemble cast. It's got Michael Caine. It's got
Barbara Hershey.
Yes, but
Shirley MacLaine, right? Oh,
no. I'm
Barbara
blanking on all their
Hershey.
names, but they're very famous actors.
Yeah.
It's,
no, it's like a famous Woody Allen one. It's like one of the top.
He's obviously in it. I think Sam Waterston's in
Diane Wiest.
Diane Wiest. Sam Waterston.
Yeah, Mia Farrow, obviously.
Mia Farrow, yeah. And who's the old guy?
The guy, he's from Seventh Seal. He's from Ingmar Bergman's Seventh Seal. And Michael Caine.
Yeah, he was. Yep,
Yeah.
Michael Caine.
Let me ask you this though: do you think they made the Platoon
Max
the right
von
choice?
Sydow. That's what I'm trying to think
Max
of.
von Sydow has been around forever. You think Platoon's the right choice?
Yeah, out of that list, yeah. I mean, Hannah and Her Sisters is a nice movie, but I think Platoon's out of that.
Platoon, yeah. Okay, and but Platoon's another one where it's like when you put it up
Platoon's a
against
tough
other
watch too.
It's what's heavy. If you go up against other war movies, Nobody
No.
talks about Platoon.
Yeah,
You
it
talk about
doesn't-
Apocalypse Now. You talk about
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket, or the first
I mean-
half at least, and then you talk about, there's other war movies that people.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
Even Barry Lyndon gets talked about more. Like we talked about Barry Lyndon in the
Right.
70s one episode. How about 87?
87, Broadcast News, Fatal Attraction, The Last Emperor, Hope and Glory, and Moonstruck.
Moonstruck won. I just remember that as a kid.
The Last Emperor won.
Oh shit!
But
my
I
God, I'm
think
so sure of it.
Cher won for Moonstruck.
won
Cher
for
won
it.
the Oscar for Moonstruck.
Yeah. Last Emperor won. That's not Scorsese, right? No, that's he did.
No,
Couldn't do him.
that's no, it is Scorsese.
It is Scorsese.
No, it's Bertolucci.
Brutally. Okay.
But
never saw Last Emperor.
Broadcast News I've seen. It's okay. It's nothing spectacular.
You know what's crazy? And this is 87, right?
Yeah.
I think this is the year. Maybe I'm a year off. Was Empire of the Sun on that list?
No,
Empire of the Sun is Spielberg. It's
that's what I was thinking of when
what?
you said Scorsese. I somehow crosshaired.
Oh, Spielberg. Yeah. Empire of the Sun is one of the best. It should have been one Best Picture. I think it might have been the next year. Empire of the Sun is around this time. Empire of the Sun.
Yeah, this is when it kind of gets weird.
gets wonky, right?
When you're just like, Fatal Attraction was nominated for Best Picture.
Well,
You're like,
yeah,
I guess
that's Oliver
so.
Stone or no? No, it's Michael Douglas is in it with what's her name?
Glenn Close.
But that was such a famous
Adrian
movie
Lynn
back
directed
then.
it.
That was the most popular one back then. Fatal Attraction.
I will not be denied, Dan. Or what did she say?
Yeah, I forget. She boils the bunny. I remember
Yeah,
that.
that was always fucked up.
88.
88, Rain Man, The Accidental Tourist, Dangerous Liaisons, Mississippi Burning, and Working Girl. Good year.
Yeah, did Rain Man win?
Rain Man won.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Rain Man. That's a really good year, and a lot of those Rain Man's still in the conversation.
Yeah, I see
Working
Mississippi
Girl has-
Burning on a lot.
What?
I see Mississippi Burning on
It's
a lot.
on a lot. It's actually I watched it on TV fairly recently.
Same here.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a
and
good
it's
movie.
a true story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's what happened with
I know
Emmett
this-
Till,
yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's badass. That guy, and-
Working Girl's a good movie, too.
Well, Working Girl's almost having a resurgence. I feel like there's like this resurgence of Working Girl
Yeah,
being popular
it's-
because the whole
perhaps, of course.
the girl stuff, the girl power. And we just kind of talked about that because of Staten Island in the last episode.
89's a great year because this one I don't know if you'll get unless you know it.
Okay. I might know
a
it.
lot of really good movies
lot of
out this
blockbusters?
year. My Left Foot, Field of Dreams, Driving Miss Daisy, Born on the 4th of July, and Dead Poet Society. Good year.
Good year, and a lot of people were disappointed, right? Because I know what won. My Left Foot won.
No.
Oh,
But your statement still holds up. Because what would you think out of those would be the one to not win?
My Left Foot. Oh,
Aside from that.
wait.
Driving Miss Daisy, Born on the 4th of July, Dead Poet Society, or Field of Dreams? What's the worst movie out of that one?
What's the worst movie out of that list? Well,
Out
I'm trying
of
to
Field
think
of Dreams, Dead Poet Society, Born on the 4th of July.
Born on the 4th of July.
Or Driving Miss Daisy.
Born on the 4th of July. That's what won?
No, Driving Miss Daisy won.
Oh, yeah, but that's not the worst movie. I think Born on the 4th of July is worse.
Really? I don't know.
Driving Miss
That's crazy.
Daisy. Yeah, that's right. I remember when that won. Yeah.
I loved Born on the 4th of July, and I've seen it recently, and it doesn't
Holds
really...
up?
It's an Oliver Stone movie where you're
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
like that's a true story
I think that's
too.
why I don't like it. It's like,
Maybe.
ever since the whole JFK fiasco, because I was obsessed with the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
That movie is just complete fiction. Like, he screwed around a lot.
Right.
He screwed up the narrative of that whole assassination with that movie.
Yeah.
So I kind of don't buy it. Also because I heard stories about natural born killers. I heard that, originally, Natural Born Killers and True Romance was one big script. And the Natural Born Killers were the alter egos of Clarence and Patricia Arquette and
Interesting.
Christian Slater.
Wow, True Romance is
But
such a
it's
better
giant movie. True, but then Natural Born Killers?
Yeah.
Well,
In my
apparently,
opinion. And I was on the
Stone-
elevator with Michael Rappaport yesterday.
Were
How
you
weird is
really?
that? Yeah.
Stone took the script. Which one's he in? Oh, he's in True Romance.
Yeah, he plays the buddy.
Yeah. Stone took the
Brad Pitt.
the Tarantino script and just cut it to shreds. Not like he used it, but he changed things around so much.
Fine, you know where he notoriously did that was Scarface. He was the writer.
Really?
And they were like, they almost banned him from the set because he was just like, I should be the director. You're fucking, to Brian De Palma. And De Palma was like, get this fucking guy out of here. We bought it from him. He's done. Get him out of here.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I think that Oliver Stone is super overrated.
Me
The same
too.
way I think that
agree
David
too.
Lynch is super overrated. I think that Oliver Stone's super overrated.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. I really do. And I think this is a perfect example. I don't think Born from July is a good movie. What about
Dead Poet Society is good.
Is this 89 or 88?
This is 89.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dead Poet Society is good.
But I think the best year of the decade, collectively.
There's the most that are like still...
Yeah,
and it
still
makes
relevant.
sense.
Field of
The
Dreams
most-
is on all the time.
Yeah.
And it gets a little corny, but it's still...
It's a really good movie, though.
It's a really good movie. Costner's got his flaws, but
Yeah, and also it's a really good movie, and it's...
it's almost a buddy movie in a way.
Yeah.
And it's got...
And from start to finish... like
I mean, try not crying at the end when
I know.
Leota comes out.
I know.
And it's
Shirtless
just-
Joe Jackson?
You know, it's got the... what's his name? Making... Archie, Moonlight Graham, making the decision that he could never go back, but he saves the little girl's life. You know, it's like
Yeah.
very sweet, and it's got...
Yeah, it's really sad. It's
really
fucking
sad. It's like you can
man.
never go back once you cry.
Oh, that's
it's like,
right,
but
because he becomes an old man, right? Is that what
yeah,
happens?
he becomes
oh
the
my
old man
God,
to
I
save the
forgot
little
about
girl.
that.
Where it's like nobody else could slap her on the back, and you're taking the most cherished thing in this guy's life away. All he did was flip her around and hit her on the, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Nobody else
Choking
has
on a hot
hands.
dog.
That'd be funny if that's how it ended. He just came back and he goes, and it's like old him, like nobody can hit her on the back. Are you fucking kidding me?
That was my life.
And he just drops dead. He's like, I was immortal as a baseball player. Nobody could just help her out. It's a kid, for crying out loud. You're all too. Oh, my dad. Well, that's the 80s.
That's the 80s.
I think it's very. If you look at it, you see what they're doing as far as like they're getting the most artistic. A lot of the artistic ones from back then, but like it's very different than the 70s. I think it's
very different.
I think it's night and day from the 70s.
Night and day.
I think
The quality is nowhere near
because you have things
the
like
70s.
Like if you look at Working Girl like is it's like a borderline romantic comedy. It's like you wouldn't have had that in the 70s. I don't think you had. Maybe you did, and I'm totally wrong. Call me out on this if I'm wrong, but Working Girl in the 70s wouldn't even have been a contender. You know what I mean? Like it's all these. Mostly dramas. I don't think there was a lot of comedies that were like. If you could have, they really should have. If they could have nominated comedies in the 70s, you would have had a lot of Mel Brooks stuff in there. You would have had, stuff like that.
Please.
So the 80s. We'll go next time we do Defend Your Decade. We'll go to the 90s. I think if
The
we
greatest
match
atrocity
up,
of all time, I think.
What'd you say?
1990 alone. We'll save it, but yeah,
Okay,
the greatest atrocity I think ever.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like
And 94 is the same thing.
that's a tough year.
Yeah,
a tough year to pick.
So look forward to that. Also, I think if you had to match up 70s and 80s, like as far as film goes, you'd say the 70s, right?
Absolutely, you'd say the 70s. Like what we said on the top though, and because we never mentioned them, but it's just like how many not on that list are movies that you love? Just the Back to the Futures, the Ferris Bueller's, the Die Hards,
right?
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, we're doing that one aspect of Best Picture, but I think that's why the 80s is underrated because it's got so many favorites that aren't on that list and aren't
things that were appreciated
Oscar-worthy,
later.
but they're so great. Yeah,
exactly.
The Gremlin, like stuff like that, just movies like that, like The Burbs. It's just like,
all these things that people got into,
beautiful,
like,
great
later
movies.
on, or it was all box office hits. Like that's the thing. The nominees in the 70s were also the box office hits.
Yeah.
And then once you got into like when you had the action blockbuster like that and Die Hard didn't start this, but like the Die Hards, or you had that was 88 or the 87.
Yeah, I think it was 88.
Yeah. Then in the 90s that happened even more. Then you have whole movies.
And that's why in the 90s will be an interesting one because there's kind of a conflation
crossover
of both. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's say goodbye for now. But thanks for doing this, buddy.
Always a
This
pleasure,
is fun.
man. I love it.
And would you like to plug anything?
I'm not sure when this comes out, but anyway, just go to andyfiori.com and you'll see all my tour dates there. And
what's your Twitter?
You can follow
and
me.
your Instagram?
Everything's Andy Fiori, AndyFiori, all that stuff.
Oh, that's great. You got your name. At Shawnee Time on Instagram and Twitter. We record these at Showbiz Studios. That's showbizstudios.com. They have a YouTube page. Also, they have a iTunes page where you can check out the abundant list of Showbiz Studios podcasts that are hosted by a bunch of our friends that are super freaking hilarious. Also, the show has a Twitter. It's at Defend Your Movie. Follow that. And please follow us. Email us, defendyourmovie@gmail.com, or send us a message on Facebook, Defend Your Movie Facebook group. Let us know matchups you would want to see put together. What other things we can defend? Defend your decade. We might start doing defend your actor. We're taking the defend your thing as far as we can go. So let us know what you think. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. Also, please review us online. That helps the podcast big time. It keeps us in the algorithm of the iTunes and people checking it out. Tell your friends about the podcast. Let us know. Send us a note. Let us know what you like and what we can change about the podcast. Let us know. Constructive criticism only, please. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
There's a time